This story begins by introducing a robot named Catherine who worked as a tech guide in a private company. This company developed advanced Acer robots for the military, which helped soldiers in their training and could also be used in combat. One day, Catherine received a message from an unknown Acer robot in her system. The number of these messages kept increasing, so Catherine informed her assignment manager about this. However, the manager completely ignored the issue. Catherine, on the other hand, wanted to investigate the matter further. Meanwhile, on the other side, we are shown a soldier named Bucks, who was present at a military base with his fellow soldier, Drifter. Suddenly, Bucks received a message that he had to go for military training with his entire team. Interestingly, Catherine was also present there. After checking the message, Bucks went to speak with the tech team because his team had been continuously training for several days, so this extra training session seemed odd. However, the tech team told Bucks that it was a system-generated order, and they had to follow the system rules. This meant that Bucks' team had to go to the targeted location to complete their training. Bucks began gathering his entire team for this training exercise. Catherine was also part of Bucks' team, serving as a guide. They all boarded the military helicopter. Catherine was scanning the soldiers and gathering information about them, enabling her to communicate effectively with them. As the military helicopter reached halfway to its destination, Catherine discovered that her access level had been changed from global to local, meaning she could no longer access information as extensively as before, and she couldn't send any messages. In just a few hours, Bucks and his entire team reached the military location where they needed to complete their training as quickly as possible. The military helicopter left them there and flew away. Catherine became a bit suspicious after seeing the entire military base because there was no ground staff present, nor were any soldiers visible. However, without thinking too much about it, Bucks and his entire team began to go inside. They all reached a small forested area where they were supposed to finish their training. Bucks' team activated a drone system to find their center point. But for some reason, Catherine was receiving some radiations in her system, which indicated danger. All the soldiers started searching for the robots in pairs. Suddenly, some drones appeared in front of Catherine, which seemed very advanced. The other soldiers also said that the drones were in front of them. Catherine then explained that these are AI advanced robots placed to monitor the performance of all the soldiers. Hearing this, everyone calmed down a bit, and Buck's entire team's training session was about to start. In front of them were some normal robots that Buck's team had to eliminate within the given time. Bucks began planning with his team on how they would attack. Meanwhile, Catherine was receiving a strange signal that she kept following deep into the forest. Suddenly, a very advanced AI robot appeared in front of her, which was not a drone but had large legs. Catherine became suspicious when she saw some blood stains on the robot's body. Therefore, Catherine started accessing all the robot's memories with the help of her monitoring system. However, she did not get much information from this. But when Catherine closed her eyes to access the memory, she saw that the AI robot had killed a soldier. Catherine was quite scared by this. But as soon as she opened her eyes, the AI robot had disappeared. Catherine hadn't told Bucks and his team about this yet. After the first day's training ended, they all stayed there for a night out. All the soldiers were celebrating their successful training session. Catherine, sitting aside, was continuously analyzing the footage taken from the Acer robot. Just then, Drifter came to Catherine and asked where she had disappeared during the training session. But Catherine didn't tell Drifter the whole truth. Instead, she told Drifter that at the age of 21, her entire body had become paralyzed, and then that private company experimented on her and turned her into a cyborg. Catherine kept receiving signals from within the forest. Drifter then went to Bucks and asked how Catherine became part of this mission. Bucks wasn't sure because her global system had been shut down, and Catherine hadn't revealed the real purpose of the training. Catherine and the rest of the soldiers went to sleep. A soldier named Loftus was standing guard outside. Suddenly, an AI drone appeared in front of Loftus. It scanned him for a while and then flew away. Loftus thought it was just there to monitor them. But a few minutes later, an Acer robot appeared in front of Loftus and stood in an attacking position. Loftus kept firing his gun at the Acer robot, but unfortunately, it had no effect. The Acer robot grabbed Loftus and took him into the forest. Hearing these noises, the other soldiers woke up and saw a lot of blood leading into the forest. So, Bucks and the remaining team went into the forest with Catherine to find Loftus. They spent the entire night searching for Loftus. When daylight broke, Bucks saw Loftus's body lying in one place, indicating that the Acer robot had killed Loftus. As they were thinking about this, some drones appeared from above. Buck's team was using the trees for cover to protect themselves. They saw that the drones were attacking from the same place where they were training the previous day. Therefore, the soldiers tried to escape by throwing smoke grenades. Due to the thick smoke, the drones couldn't see anything, narrowly saving the soldiers' lives. A soldier named Cadwell got separated from his team and encountered numerous drones that were monitoring him. As soon as an Acer robot got Cadwell's location, it came and killed him. Bucks and Drifter couldn't understand why the robots were attacking them. Bucks asked Catherine to use her system to deactivate all the robots, but Catherine explained that due to a technical error, she couldn't connect to the robots. Bucks was very angry with Catherine, but Drifter explained that it wasn't her fault but the developer's fault who designed these robots. Many of Bucks' team members were killed in this fight, making him feel deeply ashamed. Just then, Catherine informed through her system that many drones and Acer robots had come out and started attacking, forcing all the soldiers to flee continuously. Catherine and Bucks, who had been separated from their team, hid in a deserted place to stay safe. As it got quite late, they decided to stay there for the night. Catherine was still unconscious due to severe injuries. In the middle of the night, the same drones monitoring Bucks appeared again. Bucks knew that soon an Acer robot would come to kill them, so he took Catherine to a safer place and hid. The Acer robot arrived and started searching for them, but after finding nothing, it left after a while. By morning, Catherine and Bucks rejoined their remaining soldiers. They needed to reach the military base to call the rescue team. Catherine and Bucks decided to advance towards the base first while the rest of the soldiers provided cover fire from behind. Slowly, Catherine and Bucks reached the door of the military base, but it wouldn't open due to a security lock. Catherine tried to hack the security system, but just then, many AI robots surrounded the area and started throwing smoke grenades at the soldiers. It was noticeable that the AI robots were copying the soldiers' techniques, and in the next moment they started attacking the soldiers. Somehow, Catherine managed to open the security system lock, allowing all the soldiers to rush inside the military base. However, Drifter's leg was hit by a laser beam, severing it completely. Although the other soldiers managed to get inside the base, Catherine started heading back towards the robots to save Drifter. Catherine tried once again to deactivate all the robots using her system, but the system error prevented her from doing so. Drifter urged everyone to leave without him, but just then, an Acer robot aimed a laser beam to kill Drifter. Bucks didn't want his comrade to die such a horrible death, so he shot Drifter himself and quickly pulled Catherine back into the base. Catherine was extremely angry with Bucks because she believed she could have saved Drifter. However, the other soldiers began to suspect Catherine, thinking that all this was happening because of her. They believed that if it weren't for her, they wouldn't have come for training here, and so many soldiers wouldn't have died. Meanwhile, the dangerous robots began cutting through the door. To get inside, Catherine and the remaining soldiers began searching for a connectivity device. Inside one room, Catherine found many Acer robots kept as samples. She decided to activate one of these SR robots to gather information, knowing that all SR robots were connected. Upon activating the robot, Catherine discovered that these Acer robots were equipped with human combat systems, enabling them to attack humans. However, when Catherine tried to deactivate the sample robot, she encountered an error. Meanwhile, more Acer robots began cutting through the door to enter. Catherine quickly exited the room. Bucks set up explosives near the door to create a big explosion as soon as the robots approached, temporarily saving the soldiers from the robots. Catherine and the remaining soldiers decided to hide in an open space. Catherine realized that an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, could disable all SR robots if deployed correctly. She shared her plan with Bucks. If they could fire an EMP grenade at the leader of the SR robots, disabling the leader would deactivate all the robots. Bucks was concerned about the risk to Catherine's life, but Catherine insisted that someone had to make the sacrifice. Morning arrived, and a whole group of SR robots gathered, ready to attack. Buck's teammates took their positions with their guns to fire at the robots from a distance. However, the robots were also well prepared and managed to kill many soldiers. According to the plan, Catherine and Bucks prepared to deploy the EMP grenade. As the robots closed in, Catherine and Bucks executed their plan. They aimed the EMP grenade at the leader robot. The intense fight continued, with both sides suffering casualties. Bucks' team held their ground, providing cover fire as Catherine moved into position. With precision and courage, Catherine managed to launch the EMP grenade directly at the leader robot. The explosion disabled the leader robot and, just as Catherine predicted, the rest of the robots deactivated as well. The battlefield fell silent as the remaining soldiers and Catherine realized they had succeeded. Despite the heavy losses, they had survived and neutralized the threat. The plan was to blast the leader Acer robot as soon as it came near the car. However, suddenly, a robot shot Catherine, leaving her in a critical condition. Despite her injuries, Catherine managed to set off the EMP, releasing a dangerous radiation that destroyed the systems of all the SR robots. Bucks thought the crisis was over, but one robot remained active and started pursuing them inside the building. Bucks carried Catherine to a higher floor, but the SR robot followed. Strangely, the robot bypassed Bucks and targeted Catherine instead. Using her technical skills, Catherine took control of a gun and fired at the SR robot, managing to destroy it. However, as it died, the robot transferred all its data into Catherine's mind. Barely surviving the ordeal, Catherine and Bucks were soon rescued by a military helicopter along with the remaining soldiers. However, it became evident that the SR program had been inserted into Catherine's system, turning her into an SR robot herself. And thus, this terrifying story comes to an end.